When I founded Alibaba, my vision was not limited to China. From the start, I believed in the potential of the internet to connect the whole world. Thinking small was never an option. I knew that to really make an impact, you had to dream big, dream global. The business world, as I saw it, knew no borders. And that's what I always tell young entrepreneurs: think big. When you think in a limited way, success will also be limited. Believing that your ideas can transcend borders is the first step to creating something extraordinary. Now, many might ask, Jack, have you always had this global mindset? How did someone who grew up in a humble family think so far ahead? The truth is that my humble origins gave me a unique perspective. I was always curious about what lay beyond my small world. When I saw the potential of the internet, something told me that the future would be global. And of course, this grandiose thinking is what has propelled Alibaba to where it is today. Never underestimate the power of your ideas. When you aim big, your actions follow suit. But thinking big isn't just about you or your company, it's about the people you impact along the way. I always say that success isn't just about making money. It's about building something that makes a difference. In the beginning, nobody believed that e-commerce would work in China. I heard a lot of criticism. But when you take a broad view, those voices become small. It reminded me of a joke I make. Why compete with the machine to play chess? If you do that, you've already lost as a human being. I knew that even when they doubted, we were building something special. Dreaming big takes courage, and courage brings challenges. But it's these challenges that shape us. Think of a seed. It starts out small, but has the potential to grow into a big tree if it has the right soil, water, and light. The same goes for big ideas. They need the right environment to grow and thrive. And if you're willing to nurture your ideas, believe me, the sky's the limit. What are you willing to do to turn your ideas into reality? And if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that no matter how big the dream, the most important thing is to be willing to do the work necessary to realize it. Execution is just as important as vision. Many people have great ideas, but few manage to put them into practice. That's where the difference between thinking big and doing big becomes clear. Think of Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or even me. What sets us apart? It's not just the big thinking, but the unwavering will to see our ideas become reality. So the question remains, are you prepared to dream big and work even harder to see those dreams come true? At Alibaba, success didn't happen alone. From the beginning, I realized that to build something great, I needed allies, not competitors. Partnerships have been fundamental to our growth. We work hand in hand with governments, companies, and nonprofit organizations. I learned early on that in business, you need help. No one can achieve everything on their own. It's like a relay race. You can be fast, but you have to pass the baton at some point. If your partners aren't ready, the team doesn't win. My best ideas have often come from conversations with other people. I've never been afraid to ask for advice, to seek collaboration. When you surround yourself with brilliant minds, magic happens. I remember once when we were starting to grow, I shared Alibaba's vision with a colleague. He said something that changed the direction of one of our strategies. Jack, have you ever thought about how connected the world is? That moment of partnership and exchange of ideas helped us propel Alibaba from a regional platform to a global company. Partnerships are also about trust. It's not just about doing business together. It's about building a relationship of mutual respect. A curious example I like to mention is the creation of a Chinese character called Xin, which combines family and heart. For me, this character represents the spirit of partnerships, treating everyone as part of one big family, where the heart is at the center of everything. When your partners feel that they are part of something bigger, they put more energy and passion into what they are doing. Now, when it comes to alliances, many entrepreneurs are afraid to share their ideas, thinking that someone might steal them. This mentality is limiting. Great entrepreneurs know that value lies in how you execute your ideas, not just in having them. This is where partnerships become vital. By sharing your visions, you gain more perspectives and open doors to opportunities you would never have had on your own. As I often say, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. So I ask you, who are your partners? Are you willing to open yourself up to new collaborations? The secret to creating something lasting and impactful often lies in the people you connect with. Your partnerships can be the engine that takes your ideas further than you ever imagined. It's time to think about the people around you and whether these alliances are really helping you achieve your bigger goals. True success is never about quick wins or immediate results. When we started Alibaba, we were in no hurry to become giants. Our vision was long-term. We always believed in creating something that could impact the world in a positive, lasting way. The secret to this long-term success is to build a solid foundation. If you only focus on the now, you'll lose sight of the future. It's like building a house. Without a firm foundation, the structure may seem stable at first, but over time, it collapses. Looking back, I realized that many of our greatest victories came about because we thought about the impact we wanted to have in 10, 20, 50 years' time. This kind of thinking makes you take different decisions. For example, instead of just looking for profit, we focused on how we could create value for our customers and partners over time. The result? Alibaba has grown with a reputation for trust and innovation, and that's something money can't buy. I always tell young entrepreneurs, success is built on relationships. You need to take care of the people around you, whether they are your customers, employees, or partners. Creating an environment where everyone feels valued is what will ensure that your business thrives for decades to come. One example I like to use is how our team has always been treated like family. That's not just a metaphor. At Alibaba, we work together, celebrate together, and grow together. And this spirit of unity is what keeps us strong to this day. But of course, the road to long-term success is not without its critics. During our journey, many said that Alibaba's business model wouldn't last. They claimed that e-commerce wouldn't work in China. But when you build something with the future in mind, you have to have the strength to ignore these voices and keep moving forward. As I once said, if you believe in what you're doing, don't let the criticism stop you. The key is to remain steadfast in your vision, because in the end, your results will speak for themselves. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you building? Are you creating something that will stand the test of time? Long-term success requires patience, commitment, and above all, the ability to think beyond the present. And that starts today with the choices you make and the vision you decide to follow. What are you willing to do to ensure that in 10 years' time, you'll still be at the top? From the beginning of my journey with Alibaba, I always knew that criticism would be part of the process. When you start to stand out, people will try to tear you down in some way. Many people told me that e-commerce would never work in China. It's impossible, they said. But I knew what we were building, and that certainty gave me the strength to keep going. Criticism is like a stone in the road. You can either trip over it or use it to build something bigger. In my experience, it's best to use them as fuel. The truth is, the greater your success, the greater the volume of criticism. It's as if the world wants to test your resilience at every turn. But when you believe in what you're doing, these voices lose their strength. I always remember one of the most valuable lessons I've learned. If you want to be great, you have to be willing to face great challenges. Criticism is part of that challenge, and dealing with it requires a strong mindset. That's why I say that criticism is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth. Over the years, I've realized that many who criticize do so because they can't see the vision you have. And that's fine. Not everyone needs to understand. When people told me that Alibaba would fail, I used that to reflect and improve. That's when you need to be clear about what you're doing. As I once joked, why compete with a machine to play chess? If you do that, you've already lost as a human being. In other words, focus on your strengths and use criticism only as an adjustment point, not as a definitive barrier. Another important point is that a lot of criticism comes from a lack of understanding. When you're innovating, people aren't used to the new. They resist what they don't know. This has happened to me several times since the early days of Alibaba. But if you know how to explain your vision and maintain trust, time will show that criticism is temporary and success is lasting. In the end, your results will always speak louder than any criticism. So the next time someone criticizes you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this criticism to make me stronger? Don't let the words of others divert you from your path. They're just noise, and your focus is on the music you're creating with your actions. And remember, success is not measured by the absence of criticism, but by how you deal with it and move forward. Just as I learned to use criticism to boost my growth, I realized that the business world also faces constant challenges. One of them is globalization. Some people see it as a threat, others as an opportunity. For me, the need to embrace globalization has always been clear. When we founded Alibaba, we weren't just thinking about the Chinese market. We knew that the internet had the power to connect companies and consumers on a global scale. Today, more than ever, I believe that globalization can be a transformative force if we know how to use it correctly. But the road to globalization is not easy. Many try to resist this trend, believing that it brings more harm than good. However, I believe that if adopted intelligently, globalization can create equal opportunities for companies of all sizes. Instead of isolating ourselves, we need to look for ways to collaborate, innovate, and expand our horizons. After all, the world is increasingly connected, and that's a reality we can't escape. As entrepreneurs, we have a responsibility to find our place in this new world. Yes. One of the biggest lessons I've learned over the years is that globalization isn't just about expanding markets. It's about expanding your vision. When you start thinking globally, you see opportunities differently. What once seemed like a limit is now an open door to something bigger. And it's not just about business. It's about bringing cultures, ideas, and innovations together. That's the real power of globalization. Imagine if we could treat the world like a family, as I mentioned about the Chinese character Xin, which unites family and heart. Globalization gives us that chance to create something greater together. However, to truly embrace globalization, you need to be willing to adapt your business to different cultures and needs. What works in one market may not work in another. This ability to adjust and learn from different contexts is what makes a company truly global. That's how we expanded Alibaba, learning from each country, each culture, and shaping our approach to better serve our customers around the world. And now, with the world more connected than ever, the question remains, are you ready to embrace globalization? If you're still thinking locally, you could be missing out on the biggest opportunities the future holds. The world is changing, and globalization won't stop. What are you doing to prepare for this reality? 2. When talking about globalization, It's impossible to ignore the importance of adaptability. The world is constantly changing, and the companies that thrive are those that can quickly adjust to new realities. At Alibaba, this has always been a priority for us. We knew that as the world became more connected, new technologies and demands would emerge. That's why, right from the start, we made a point of continually reinventing ourselves. Today's market is not the same as it was 10 years ago, and tomorrow's market will be different again. The ability to adapt is undoubtedly one of a company's greatest competitive advantages. Companies that cling to the past, unwilling to change, end up being left behind. I always say that the only constant in life is change, and success depends on how you deal with it. Are you prepared to adjust when the market changes? When new technologies emerge, are you willing to incorporate them into your business, or do you fear the unknown? These are questions that every entrepreneur must constantly ask themselves. I remember well a specific situation in which adaptability was crucial for us. When e-commerce was starting out, many doubted that it would work in China, especially with the limited infrastructure at the time, but we adapted, created our own solutions, and moved on. I believe that just as in life, in business, you also need to be flexible. If you insist on a single approach, even when circumstances change, you are destined to fail. In the end, those who adapt best will survive. Adaptability also means being open to new ideas and being willing to learn from others. I've always tried to listen to my colleagues, partners, and even competitors, because that's often where the best innovations come from. The market is constantly evolving, and the faster you can adjust, the stronger your company becomes. It's like sailing a boat. The wind may change, but if you know how to adjust your sails, you'll still reach your destination. And now, as the future continues to challenge us with technological changes such as artificial intelligence and automation, the question is, are you ready to adapt? Are you willing to change your strategies and reinvent your business when necessary? Adaptability is what allows us not only to survive, but to thrive in times of uncertainty. And this, without a doubt, is one of the most valuable skills you can develop to ensure long-term success. Talking about adaptability brings me to another essential point: execution. Having a good idea is just the beginning, but the real difference lies in how you put it into practice. Many people dream big, but few manage to turn those dreams into reality. At Alibaba, we are obsessed with execution. Every idea we have goes through a rigorous analysis of how it can be implemented in the best possible way, because in the end, ideas are just words if you don't know how to make them concrete. I always say that good execution requires discipline and dedication. People often underestimate the work needed to turn an idea into success. They think it's enough to have a vision. But in reality, the vision is just the starting point. The real challenge is to remain consistent every day, regardless of the obstacles. At Alibaba, we've never been perfect, but we've always strived to be better at every step, because we knew that constant, focused execution is what separates the dreamers from the doers. I remember how crucial execution was when we started. We had many ideas for expansion, but if we didn't have a solid, well-executed plan, Alibaba wouldn't be what it is today. Many entrepreneurs fail because they underestimate the importance of doing the hard work. They get lost in the excitement of ideas and forget that it's the daily effort that really moves things along. As I often say, if you don't work hard, you won't reap the rewards. And working hard in this case is synonymous with executing with precision. Now, execution doesn't just mean following a plan rigidly. As I mentioned before, you have to be adaptable. Sometimes things don't go according to plan, and you have to adjust your strategies along the way. But even in these moments of adaptation, execution needs to be impeccable. Every detail matters, every action counts, and that's how you bring about your success. So, what's your idea? And more importantly, how are you going to execute it? The real magic happens when you manage to turn your vision into reality through consistent action. At the end of the day, everyone has good ideas, but few are able to make them a reality. The question is, are you prepared to be a doer? Talking about execution brings me to a crucial element that shapes long-term execution: company culture. At Alibaba, we have created a culture that values collaboration, innovation, and caring for people. This environment is what has allowed us to grow sustainably and achieve global success. I firmly believe that a company's culture defines its future. It's not just about financial targets, but about how people feel and behave on a daily basis. A strong culture is what drives long-term success. Entrepreneurs often focus so much on business strategies that they forget that a company is made up of people. If you don't take care of them, your business won't thrive. When you create a culture where people feel valued, respected, and encouraged to give their best, magic happens. I remember a phrase I like to use: if you want your company to be good, hire women. If you want your company to be perfect, get men and women to work together. Diversity and inclusion are fundamental pillars for a successful culture. Creating a successful culture is not a simple task. It requires time, patience, and above all, consistency. You can't just talk about values, you have to live them every day. At Alibaba, we have always believed that people come first. When you take good care of your staff, they will take good care of your customers. And that creates a positive cycle that drives sustainable growth. But how can you create this culture in your own business? The first step is to make sure your values are clear to everyone. From day one at Alibaba, everyone knew what we valued: innovation, teamwork, and above all, respect for people. When these values are practiced consistently, they take root in the organization and become the basis of its success. So which culture are you building? If you want to create something that lasts, you need to start from within. It's not just about business strategies, but about how you treat your team and create an environment that inspires the best in everyone. Remember, a company's culture is the foundation on which all success will be built. Speaking of innovation, one of the biggest topics of our time is artificial intelligence. At Alibaba, we're always exploring new technologies, and AI has played a key role in many of our innovations. But one thing I've always believed is that no matter how intelligent machines become, they can never replace human heart and wisdom. The key is to use AI as a tool to improve people's lives, not to replace them. I like to joke about this, mentioning AlphaGo, which beat world champions at the game of Go. Why compete with a machine to play chess? If you do that, you've already lost as a human being. The point is that we should focus on what we do best: creativity, empathy, and leadership. AI can be a powerful ally, but human innovation is irreplaceable. At Alibaba, we use artificial intelligence to improve the customer experience and optimize our processes. But we always keep humanity at the heart of everything. The future belongs to those who know how to use technology strategically. Companies that resist the use of AI risk being left behind. However, the key is not simply to adopt the technology for the sake of adopting it, but to know how to integrate it in a way that amplifies the strengths of your company and your team. At Alibaba, we use AI to make our customers' lives easier, making their experiences faster and more efficient, but never neglecting the human touch that defines our brand. The world is changing fast, and AI is a powerful force in this transformation. If you want to succeed, you need to understand how technology can work in your favor without losing sight of what makes your company unique. Technology is a tool, and like any tool, its value depends on how you use it. At Alibaba, we don't see AI as the end-all, but as a means to create a more connected and humane future. So, are you ready to embrace artificial intelligence? The future is unfolding before us, and those who know how to balance technology with humanity will have a significant advantage. What are you going to do to ensure that your company is prepared for this new era? When we think about the future, another big change that is already happening is the way we work. The concept of work as we know it is evolving rapidly. In the past, working 40 hours a week was the standard, but this is changing. Thanks to technology, we will be able to work fewer hours and be more productive at the same time. I often joke that my grandfather worked 18 hours a day and said he was busy. I work 8 hours a day and feel busy. My grandchildren will work 3-4 hours a day and say they're too busy. This shows how work is being redefined. The future of work will be about efficiency and impact, not how many hours you spend in the office. The new generations, with the help of technology, will be able to focus on more creative and strategic tasks, while repetitive activities will be carried out by machines. This will give us more time to focus on what really matters: innovation, well-being, and personal growth. At Alibaba, we are already seeing this transition, with many of our operations being automated while our employees focus on high-value tasks. But this change also brings challenges. Many are concerned about the impact automation will have on employment. My view is optimistic. Technology will create new types of work, where the focus will be on human skills such as leadership, problem-solving, and creativity. In fact, I believe that in the future, success will be measured not by the number of hours you work, but by the impact you manage to generate. This opens up a new opportunity for all of us to reimagine what work means. So how are you preparing for this evolution? Are you ready to adopt a more flexible, results-focused mindset? The truth is that the work of the future will require more emotional intelligence, creativity, and adaptability, skills that machines can't replicate. And this is a great opportunity for all of us. What will differentiate companies and individuals in the future will not be how hard they work, but what they deliver. Are you ready to embrace this new reality? The evolution of work is already in motion, and it's up to you to adapt and thrive in this new environment. This evolution of work makes me think of the essential role that startups play in innovation. They are small, agile, and courageous. At Alibaba, we have always had a deep respect for startups because we know that it is in this environment that the most disruptive innovations emerge. Large companies are often complacent, but startups are always looking for ways to break with the status quo. That's why I believe that supporting startups is crucial for the future of the global economy. I often say that startups are like seeds. They may seem small and fragile at first, but with the right environment, they can grow into towering trees. That's exactly how we started with Alibaba. And like every startup, we made a lot of mistakes along the way. But I've never been afraid of failure because I understand that every mistake is a valuable lesson. Failure is part of the innovation process. If you're not failing, you're probably not innovating enough. Many entrepreneurs are afraid of starting small. They want everything to be perfect from the start, but the truth is that innovation comes from experimentation and a willingness to make mistakes. When I started Alibaba, we didn't have many resources, but we had a clear vision and the courage to try new things. That's the spirit of startups. It doesn't matter how big they are. What matters is the will to create something new and different. Startups have the freedom to move quickly and test new ideas, something that many large companies lose as they grow. But this speed also brings risks, and that's where resilience comes into play. To survive as a startup, you need to be willing to face challenges and get up after every fall. Success is not a linear path, but a journey of ups and downs. And the more you embrace this journey, the closer you will be to achieving something truly innovative. So if you're leading a startup or thinking of starting one, ask yourself, are you prepared to fail and learn from those mistakes? The world needs more startups willing to take risks and change the game. Are you ready to be one of them? And finally, after talking about innovation and startups, we come to the point that connects everything, the importance of dreaming big. When I started Alibaba, many people doubted me. They said that e-commerce would never work in China, that it was an impossible idea. But I never let those doubts stop me from dreaming big. I believe that we all have the potential to achieve extraordinary things, as long as we are willing to work hard and never give up. Dreaming big doesn't just mean thinking in terms of size or profit. It means believing in the impact you can make on the world. That's what motivated us at Alibaba. We didn't just want to be a successful company. We wanted to change the way the world did business. We wanted to create a platform that connected small businesses around the world with global opportunities. This dream is what kept us going, even when we faced difficulties and criticism. But dreaming big also takes courage. Often you'll be the only one who believes in your vision, and that can be lonely. However, if you are clear about what you want to achieve and determined to keep going, the world will eventually recognize the value of your dream. As I often say, never give up. Today is difficult, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow, the sun will shine. The key is to persist. The most inspiring thing is that dreaming big is not something reserved only for big companies or experienced entrepreneurs. Anyone can dream big, regardless of where they are. I came from a very poor family, and I never imagined that I would get to where I am today. But what drove me was the belief that if I dreamed big enough and worked hard enough, I could achieve things that seemed impossible. So, what's your big dream? Are you ready to fight for it? Dreaming big is the first step to achieving great things. Now it's up to you to do the work necessary to make that dream a reality. And remember, success starts with the courage to believe in something bigger than yourself.
Jack Ma is a name that needs no introduction. The charismatic founder of Alibaba has revolutionized the business world, showing how the power of resilience and innovative thinking can turn any idea into something great. In one of his most impactful talks, he shared a powerful message about the balance between failure and success, recalling his own journey of overcoming. Ma, who grew up in a poor family, has become one of the most influential entrepreneurs on the planet, and his lessons are a real treasure for any entrepreneur or professional seeking growth. In this presentation, Jack Ma invites us to rethink the role of criticism and how to use it to leverage our success. He talks about the importance of thinking big, the value of partnerships, and why adaptability is one of the greatest skills for the future of business. Throughout his career, Ma has been challenged countless times, but his long-term vision, coupled with disciplined execution, is what has kept him at the top. He reminds us that success is not an isolated event, but a continuous process of learning and overcoming. If you want to understand how globalization, artificial intelligence, and the evolution of work are shaping the future and the crucial role that startups play in innovation, this video is for you. Jack Ma brings valuable insights that can completely change the way you see the market and your own capabilities. Watch it again and be inspired to learn from every step of his journey, and above all, be motivated to never give up on your dreams. Now that you've heard Jack Ma's words, it's time to put all this knowledge into practice. Think about the challenges you face today and ask yourself, how can I turn criticism into fuel for success? What am I doing to dream big and execute my ideas with discipline? What have you learned here that you can apply to your work or personal life? Jack Ma showed us that the road to success is full of obstacles, but that each one is an opportunity for growth. The real question is, are you willing to keep going, even when the going gets tough? Watch this video whenever you need a reminder that failure is just one step on the road to success. And of course, Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning and being inspired by more content like this. To continue your growth journey, watch the next video, 10 lessons from Jack Ma that every young person should hear, where we'll explore more valuable tips for transforming your life and career.